Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Starting Actor. I am Vinnie Horst, and today I have a special guest, a good friend of mine, Jillian Tremaine. Hi, Jillian.
Hey.
Hi. Jillian and I met at, again, the Actors Studio of Orange County, and we did a scene together. And yeah, that's really our personal history. So Jillian's joining us today because she has landed a role in an episodic, and I don't know what an episodic is, and so I wanted to learn from her and kind of hear from her how it, what it is, how it goes down, what her experience has been so far, and all that. So, thank you, Jillian, for doing this.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So let me give you a quick intro of Jillian. Jillian spent her childhood and early adult years studying musical theater, classical piano, and dance while performing in countless productions and showcases around her home state of Michigan. She moved to Denver, Colorado at the age of 21 and grew a very successful career as a hairstylist and makeup artist while simultaneously developing a career as a commercial model for the Donna Baldwin Agency. Jillian relocated to California in 2018 to focus on film and acting, and that's how I met her. And to continue studies at the Actors Studio of Orange County. She has since landed a spot in the upcoming feature film Break Even, congratulations, and most recently accepted a supporting role in the Amazon Prime series Pacific Breeze. So Jillian, welcome to The Starting Actor.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So let's start with the question that I have first, which is, what the heck is an episodic?
Yeah, it's a good question. An episodic is it's media that has been broken up into episodes. So it's telling a story over a series of episodes instead of a feature film or a short film. So any television show, any scripted television show that you're watching is considered an episodic because there's episodes, several episodes create a season. And that's what an episodic is.
Okay, well that was actually a lot simpler than it seemed. I somehow in my mind sometimes these definitions of not having ever done this in my life and being that starting guy, I don't know what some of these things mean, and I guess I had overthought that one a bit. So.
Well, no, actually, when I first, because I get all of my castings right now through, all these different casting networks online.
Yeah.
And when I first started seeing episodics come up, I kind of had to look it up too, because you don't typically cast for an episodic, you cast for a pilot.
Okay.
So they'll cast you for one pilot, and then if the pilot gets picked up and somebody wants to fund the project, then you get to be in an episodic. But it's rare that that you just start with an episodic, at least on casting networks. I'm, pre-agent and all of that.
Right. So that's where you found this particular gig then is casting networks?
Yep. This was casting networks.
Okay.
This one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so I also am a member of casting networks too, and I see a lot of things that are more in the commercial world, projects that are more commercial, print, but there's also definitely, as clearly, film and TV projects as well.
Yeah, it's. I find you're correct. I find it to be more commercial and print for casting networks. Every once in a while, there's a short film. I think you can have I think if you're doing like a private project, you can have people audition through casting networks. So I find it's a lot of people. Most of the gigs that I see through there that are shows or movies or short films are self-funded.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's kind of what I've come to at least notice in my experience.
Right. Oh. Okay. So tell me a little bit about the project. So it was Pacific, I've already forgotten now, Pacific Breeze.
Pacific Breeze.
So what's the nature of the show?
So this show is geared towards a pretty specific demographic. Mm-hmm. It is very, it's like a soap opera meets Hallmark. It's very Hallmark Channel. It's very, like family values, love, support, happy endings, you know, with like arcs in the story and little bits of like drama here and there. But ultimately, the director's goal is for the end message to always be of like community and love and support,
Right.
and to be that kind of like light-hearted, you know, media that we can see on TV, since it's kind of a dying breed.
Yeah, well, there's certainly, we can use a little bit of that.
But there's still like a huge demographic for it, right? There's still people who want that, who don't
Families.
want, yeah, exactly, and who want that kind of Seventh Heaven vibe, and nobody's really making it anymore. So there's a huge demand for it. So it's like trying to fill that gap of people that still cherish those values.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's don't necessarily even have to cherish those values. I mean, it's fun television or fun video to watch when you have, you know, something that makes you feel good, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's yeah, I can definitely see that. Well, that's great. So what is your role in it? What are you a supporting character? What's your role?
Yeah, so I play a supporting role. I play Chloe. She's this workaholic real estate agent, still living in her hometown. She's kind of like taken the town over and kind of like made it hers, and knows everybody and knows everybody's business and knows everything that's happening. But the whole story is wrapped around this girl named Rachel, who's one of Chloe's best friends, who just moved back to town after a long hiatus. Yeah. And it's Chloe kind of, you know, in my role, it's me kind of helping her reestablish her roots and reintegrate into the community, and, you know, kind of mend some old maybe family wounds that are happening, and just I'm really trying to like help her along, and just feel comfortable and safe so that she stays and is happy.
That'll do it. So what does, in this case, I lost my train of thought. What is a supporting character? There we go. A supporting role. What is it? Well, how does that play into the series? So we have lead characters who are the people that we see a lot on the screen. So how does your supporting character support the story?
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, when you tie in the family values and the idea of a supporting character, it really is Chloe supporting her friend. You know, it's just kind of supporting the story, supporting the values, supporting the idea of what is happening. So, you know, I'm kind of the one who's always trying to like raise her back up. I'm not taking the thunder, and the story is not about me. Mm-hmm. But it's just, you know, I kind of keep coming in to wrap her back into her family and help her build a career, and, you know, be there for her, and just to kind of hold up the story and what the story wants to do, which is just promote that type of life and love.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So and that's, I think, as a starting actor, as a person who's starting in acting, it's my expectation, you tell me if I'm wrong, but it's my expectation that those are probably the roles that I'm going to get most often, are in film it's called a supporting actor, as opposed to a lead character where I'm the guy the whole time. Is that a
Why would you assume that?
Well, because I'm starting out, right? I mean, I don't have the pedigree and all the rest of that, right?
Hey, I mean, I think when you're starting out, you're lucky to be a day player. I mean, if you can just be the guy pouring coffee, that's good too. I mean, to just get a supporting role, I feel pretty lucky. But yeah, I mean, I think any role is really a good role if someone's willing to give it to you.
Gonna work up to it, right? That was my point. I'm not trying to downplay my skill. I mean, I certainly believe.
Right, but you're saying don't always expect to be the lead character right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. I guess because I would say that was again, coming into the industry, learning how the stuff works. Didn't know that that there were different levels of actors and so on, just as I would be in my corporate world job where I'm a computer programmer. There's different levels of programmers, right? They're not everybody is the lead programmer.
Yeah.
So,
my perfect role, it's nice to have your lead be an experienced actor, so that you can work off them, learn from them, and kind of see what they do, and they can kind of guide you a little bit into, or just at least give you bits of knowledge from their own personal experience on set for however long they've been doing it.
Yeah, I think that's another key point too, is that just being on set to experience it and watch how other people work is, in my experience, has been pretty useful.
Yeah.
Right? You pick up some little thises and that's, and so do you have some actors that you're working with? Well, how many actors are there in this story, and are there any that do have that experience that you can learn from?
I haven't met anybody in person yet. So we've only had a table read. I don't know. It's a very small cast. I think COVID has a lot to do with things. So there's a lot of different rules that's going on now. It's a really small cast, and you're typically only filming, like, I believe we're filming one episode a week, one scene a day. And there's day players in and out of the scenes.
Right.
But I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, so that's interesting.
So I'm kind of excited to dive in and meet everybody and see where they're at in their career, and how we can all learn from each other and grow together in the project and in the experience.
Right. So I realize now that I dove headlong into this whole thing, and I got to back up a little bit, because where are you in this process, right? So you're working on the project, but clearly to get there, you had to apply for it. You saw the casting notice, you applied for it, and so take me through how did you wind up where you are now?
Yeah. So I apply for everything. I go through Actors Access, Backstage, and casting networks, and apply for everything that is within my somewhat wheelhouse, and even if it's not in my wheelhouse, I apply for it. And then if that's, and then I go from there, any self-tapes, blah, blah, blah. This one I applied for, and it was right in the casting notice, known off the bat, that this project is not sold yet. So you will be filming episodes without pay. Now, if and when it gets sold.
When you say sold, you mean sold
to a network. Yeah, to a network or to a streaming network, which means nobody's funding it. It means the person who's making it is funding it. There's nobody else funding it, which means, some people will choose to put their money into more well-known actors to hopefully get seen more, or more visibility. Other people will put their money into set. Other people will put their money into equipment, what have you. We've all agreed to do this for free. If it gets sold, if it makes money, we will make money. And then there's a chance that nobody will make money. But you go into it already knowing that. And I liked that was upfront, right in the casting. There was no wiggling around the truth of that. So that is one of the terms of the agreement. And then the other term of the agreement is that any scenes that I am in are ready and available to me personally whenever it is available to the public. So I get all of my scenes along with any deleted scenes, which means I can take all of that nice 4K footage and create a reel for myself.
I see. So they're actually give you the video of the scenes that you were in, and so okay, you can put
any footage. So I applied for that, and they said, "Great, love your look. Go ahead and audition," and sent me a self-tape. But it was like, "We want your auditions by." It was Saturday night, I think I saw this, and it was, of course, the thing like, "We want it in by Sunday night."
Oh, of course.
And yeah, and things
all the time you need, as long as it's in by tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And the weekend got crazy. Things happened with the dog and life and whatever. And I didn't do it. And Monday morning came, and I just felt really, I felt guilty that I said I would send in a self-tape and I didn't.
Yeah.
And I thought that I couldn't just ignore it and not say anything, because that's just bad form on my part. And I don't want that reputation with anybody anywhere. So I ended up reaching out to the CD, the casting director, and just sending an email saying, hey, listen, I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to make a self-tape, but I wasn't. No excuses. Life happened. I really appreciate the opportunity and keep me in mind for the future.
Right.
And he sent me an email back and said, well, the role that you were casting for has already been cast. However, I think you would be great for this other role. Will you, I encourage you to still send in the self-tape anyway. Wow. Get it to me by the end of the day. Still, I'm like, fuck.
You asked for it.
I'm still going to make that self-tape. Yeah. So luckily I had already memorized the lines. They're not, again, it's not difficult dialogue. So I filmed a self-tape and I sent it in that night, and he called me the next day and said, I'd really like you to be in the project. He said, I like your look, and honestly, I was just looking for somebody that felt real. And he's like, you read it like a real person. It didn't feel like you were reading lines. That's really all I need. That was good enough for me. Are you in?
Yeah. Wow.
And I said, as long as I can have my footage, I'm
build that reel.
Promise me my footage.
Yeah. That's great. Wow. So from there, you accepted the role.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, is there anything to cover? No, I think you explained it beautifully. So from there you got the role. And I think if I remember correctly, you said that you've actually had a table read. You said that earlier. So what is a table read, and how did that all work?
Table reads typically when you just sit down as a cast and read through the script together as your characters, and you can get any notes or ask any, preliminary questions that you have about the script, about the character, about whatever it is. This table read was done through Zoom. Obviously, everything's done through Zoom. And it was great. It was great to read the lines of the character, because obviously, then you get to react honestly to the person and not to the, the way you would say it in your head. And so It changed the way I said it, and it gave it a whole fresh vibe. And, then all of a sudden lines that I was maybe struggling with made more sense to me. And it was pretty easy. I mean, these are very short episodes. These are 20-minute episodes.
Yeah. That's a pretty long episode, I would say, 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, but if you're only in one scene and these two people are in this scene and these two people are in this scene, when you break it all up, everybody gets, aside from Rachel, who is the lead character, everybody gets, a nice little bit of airtime, but you're not overwhelmed. And again, it's not dialogue heavy.
Right. Oh, interesting. And that's actually just to call it out a little more. I mean, as a supporting actress in a 20-minute episode, you may get a minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes if you're lucky, I suppose. But from a filming perspective, yeah, I guess it gives you the opportunity to get in there, get your feet wet, and participate in a real project, and not have to have a huge time commitment. I mean, some of us, not myself, but some of us want to have a big time commitment, but a supporting role gives you that feel and that taste, and while still not having a huge commitment. So
yeah, I think that was my biggest inspiration in accepting the role, is that I spend a lot of time on stage, but I'm new to film, and you can't necessarily expect to just go out and be on HBO and be making $30,000+ an episode, $100,000 episodes. It's
where do I sign that contract, by the way?
Yeah, seriously, find me that agent. And it's so to me it was like, oh, this is all I saw was an opportunity for experience.
Yeah.
And it was like somebody's offering you an opportunity to go be on set and, quite frankly, learn who you are on set and comfortably make a few mistakes, as I'm sure I will.
Yeah. Well, that's part of learning.
I'm excited to have the platform to learn, and they all seem like very kind and supportive and genuinely good people. So it's like, I do feel like it's just a good growth opportunity, regardless of the end result or what happens. It's like, it's pure experience, and you can't ask for more.
Yeah. The phrase, the term, you don't know what you don't know, comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
If you come to set for the first time and you learn some things, well, that's great, because that's what you're there for. You didn't know that you needed to learn those things.
Yeah.
So I remember my first experience was the same thing. It was just it was deer in the headlights, but it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a ton of like commercials and all of this, but I've never done an episodic. I've never got to work through several episodes and build characters, and that's, I mean, I love that. I love that even long-term goal to be, I mean, who doesn't want to be in the Ozarks, you know, like it's some badass drama that just builds and builds and builds over the course of several years. Like, so just to even start playing with that energy is so cool to me.
So so that's an interesting thought, a great observation, that as an episodic, in an episodic as an actor, you probably need to come up with, this is a question really, but come up with your context from episode to episode, and also remember your context from last episode, so that you can feed into, am I on the right track here?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm excited to build, because it's funny, I even, it's like, I got a sense for Chloe in the first episode, but I was still like, where is she at? Who is she? How does she feel? And then I got the script for the second episode, and I was like, oh, I'm starting to understand her a little bit more. And it's like, I got a little bit, it's like you get another piece every time, and it naturally builds in the script, and I feel like it naturally builds within you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. As you take time with a script, I found the same thing myself. As I take time with a script and I read it over and over and over again, I work with it. It just suddenly, that's what that line meant. Okay, now I get it. And when you hear somebody else say, as you said, I think you said it earlier, when somebody else says the line that you've been repeating in your mind to yourself, when they say it,
yeah.
Oh, I get that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I used that one before, but now.
Right. So there's that. Like, I'm excited to work on that contact and that communication with my partner. And I have been doing so many self-tapes since COVID started, and I just can't wait to get with another human again.
Yes.
And be like, no, your turn, your line, and then my line.
So you guys had a table read last week, and I think you're having another table read coming up for the second episode today.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So who's on the table read, at the table reads? Is it you and the CD, the casting director? Or
and all 6 core characters.
Oh, and all the characters as well. So you haven't met them, but you've, like, physically.
I've done one table read with them.
With them, okay.
And I stalked them all on Instagram.
Of course you did.
Minus the one who does not have an Instagram.
Okay. And so you guys are doing video. I presume you can see each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as we're doing right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So how many episodes are there that have been written so far?
So there is 8 episodes, and we may stop at 8 or go to 12, depending on whether or not we get behind.
Okay, because there's a schedule, of course. Right.
Yeah, because then we start filming in September, October. If we get behind, we're going to go, like, it's holiday season, and, that's when schedules get too convoluted and things get,
crazy.
Hard to ask people to, keep showing up for that. So,
Okay.
As of now, there will be 8 episodes and then potentially stretch it a little bit further.
So what does the schedule look like? So you guys are doing some table reads now.
Yep.
At some point there will be filming. Is
Yep.
filming going to be in person?
Yep, filming will be all over different areas in LA.
Okay.
And it's, it's very strict COVID guidelines when you're not like right on set. So when you're off set, you're all 6 feet apart, you're wearing masks, you're, responsible for your own hair and makeup. Nobody's touching anybody. And I don't even think in the scenes anybody's touching anybody. Like I even think it's kind of written to still be, a little separated. And, who knows? I have no idea because we haven't done it yet, the length of the days or,
what that's all look like. Do you have an impression yet? So you're doing some table reads. Are you going to do all the table reads for all the episodes and then talk about filming later?
We will start filming mid-September.
So it's mid-August right now, so in a month.
Yeah, so in like a month we'll start filming. We seem to be on track to do 1 table read a week, and I think that is because we need to finalize the script because it's going on Amazon Prime, which means it needs to be closed caption compliant. So you and I talked about this previously, but I'll talk about it again. So if to put anything on Amazon Prime, so I've recently learned, it has to be Amazon compliant, which means that every word that you send in on that script has to be word perfect with everything the actor says in their scenes. So I cannot change a single word of dialogue from the script. Once the script is the script, I have to stick to every single word. I can't change an and or a the or a but. I mean, it has to be right on target. So I think the point of the earlier table reads for us is to go through the script as a team and say, hey, can we change this line? And we can nip it in the bud now. Because if we turn in the episode and the script and the words are off, they send it all back and say, do it again. And that is what will put us behind. And that is one of the things that will keep us from going, from 8 episodes to 12 episodes.
And so this word perfect business has to do with the fact that are they going to make subtitles out of it? Is that what it's for? Okay.
Correct.
Interesting. So and we were talking about this a little earlier. I, as an actor, am a little bit more of an ad-libber. That's my preference. This word perfect business, I don't envy you at all because if it's me, I'm not so hot at that technique. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. I was so word perfect in the beginning, and then I had a teacher tell me, move around a little bit. Just don't be so focused on being word perfect, because I want to see you, and I feel like you're so focused on being word perfect that you're not being you. So then I started playing around a little bit, and I usually still stay pretty close to course, but I would change a couple things. And now I'm back in the boat where they're like, gotta be word perfect. And I'm like, fuck, I should have just stuck with, I should have stuck with what I was doing originally.
Well, I think that every project, from my limited experience, every project is different. I've worked with, I've been lucky from my perspective that every director that I've worked with hasn't necessarily required it to be word perfect. Make your best effort, but as you said, generally it's going to be just make it flow, be in contact with your partner, and let's have a scene that people would not touch.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer the spontaneity of the wiggle room because it is a lot of pressure to know that if you miss an and or a but that you have to do it again. But again, because it's a dialogue heavy script, it's very doable and very good practice in being word perfect.
So did the directors or did the team give you an impression if while on set you guys are doing your scene and we notice that there's a word that's not correct, are they going to say cut and start over?
I sure hope so.
Yeah. Well, maybe you might want to ask that question.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly I expected that would be the case.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah, someone will have to manage that, because if they don't, that's, we're gonna get in some trouble. So yeah, I'm gonna write that down for my table read tomorrow. I'm like, wait,
Nope.
is anybody managing this?
Note to self. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I wonder whether they can, and this is just as my ignorance, I don't know, but could they change the words, the script to match the video after editing?
Yeah, that was kind of my question, and I think, there was wiggle room for that. His whole thing was just let me know as soon as possible. So I think even if it changes that exact day, he just said it's really hard to go through at the end of the day after a long day of shooting before you start editing and like look at the script and like make sure that everything's perfect. So in a nice way, I do feel it was like, hey, as actors, I'm asking you to be responsible for your lines. I think they'll do their best, but I do think it's like, that's your job also.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, maybe we should, I'll ask you again in 6 months, maybe when this project is done, because my gut feeling, as the starter in this whole thing, right? What the hell do I know? But my feeling is that once they get into post, into editing, after the filming is done and they're gluing all the pictures together and putting the audio together, that they'll find that they're just going to naturally diverge from the text, because this scene, it works better if we do it this way, right? More the creative starts getting involved, and it's not so much about the lines anymore. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. It'll be neat.
Only time will tell.
It'll be neat. Yeah. Cool. So is this filming here? This is what's intended to be sold as the final product, right? This is not like a pre-shoot, and we're doing a pilot.
No, they are going to, the best of my knowledge, the plan is to package the entire series together and try and sell it as a season.
Okay.
And sell it as, I'm assuming, again, assumptions, if they can sell it as a season and the season does well, then it'll get picked up and funded for a second season. Or even if it just, even if they sell the one season and, that just plays around on, whatever network for a while.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, congratulations, Jillian. I mean, I'm really very excited for you.
Yeah.
This is cool stuff. Even if I can live through your experience vicariously and kind of pick up some tips, and if nothing else, I learned what an episodic is. Right today, I didn't even know what
That's a good start.
So, thank you very much.
I'll tell you all that I learn as I learn it, because I know that it'll be a big learning experience for me, and I am, I'm very excited. I think with things like this, it's a passion project for everybody. I think we're all doing our best to put a little skin in the game and just be present actors, and nobody's begging for anything other than just to be out there. It's hard right now with everything that's going on in the world, so just be able to be in front of a camera anywhere, I'm grateful for that, and I'm just grateful for that opportunity as a whole, and just excited to be on set regardless of any of it. If it ever sells, never sells, does well, doesn't do well, don't care. Like, I just get to go learn some lines and be with other actors, which is like the best day ever.
You get to be an actress, right? I mean, that's cool. That's cool stuff.
Yeah,
it really is. So, once again, Matt, congratulations, and thank you again for joining me on The Starting Actor.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you later, Jillian.
All right, bye.